This is Andi Purewal Boxing Social in association with Betfred. I'm in Nottingham and I'm joined by the Cobra, Carl Froch. Carl, firstly, how are you?
Yeah, I'm good, thank you.
Good to hear it. Obviously, we're here at the Wood Conlan Wade. I'm sure you'll be supporting Lee tomorrow night, fellow Nottingham man. But what do you make of his fight with Morgan Conlan? What do you expect to see when the pair of them are in the ring?
I think it's a close fight. A lot of people have got Conlan as a favourite, and I think they're underestimating Lee Wood. They must know. I'm not talking about the fans, I'm talking about Conlan's team. They must know. How you doing, Darren? They must know what they've got in front of them, and they know they've got a hungry, experienced, confident Lee Wood, who's done his time, but now he's there. And I think that now he's there, he's going to go next level. Because that win against was it Kanzu? I mean, that was a great win. I was there for 5 Live Radio with my mate Darren Fletcher, and I thought he was in trouble that night. And then started a bit steady, got his range, and then all of a sudden he just opened up a can of whoop-ass and he looked good. And I think on the back of that, I think he's getting from strength to strength. Tough fight for him. This fight could go either way, but I've got Lee Wood as the favourite. But that might be my heart speaking, not my head.
People see this as maybe one where if Conlan's going to win, it might be a points win. In Lee's favour, he's going to be successful via stoppage. Are they the only two outcomes that you can see?
It's not a bad shout, and you can see why people say that. Conlan's not a banger. He's a great boxer. I mean, he got robbed of the Olympic gold. He let everyone know as well, I think, and he got robbed. And Lee Wood is. You can't underestimate his boxing ability and his skill because he's very skillful. I love his. It's a bit Kell Brookie, Nassim Hamadi's type. It's got that Ingle style, that unorthodox counter-punching sort of trickster type. So when he hits people with a shot, a lot of the time it's a shot they haven't seen coming. He'll catch them with a hook or a sneaky counter-punch, and you'd think, wow, where did that come from? Like if you was putting myself as a fighter in front of him, I'd be thinking, how's he hit me with that? And you wouldn't have seen it coming. Because he's that good and that tricky. So I think that with that skill set and the power with the timing, yes, it's fair to say that if there's a knockout, it's probably going to be Lee Wood knocking out Conlan, but he can definitely take it the distance and still win on points. Lee Wood can.
Carl, I heard you mention to Fraser just 10 years since your press conference with Lucian Butte. When obviously you're here, you look back now. What are your memories kind of going back into that, and what do you make rather of boxing in Nottingham, how it's grown since obviously you retired and Lee's trying to kind of build it back up and get big fight nights back here, as we will see on Saturday night?
Boxing's not massive in Nottingham. It can be a bit of a miserable bunch, Nottingham. Nottingham Forest are doing really well, the FA Cup. We've got Liverpool next week. I mean, I'll be down at that. And we've had a couple of good wins. But boxing, we've not really had many boxers from Nottingham doing that well. So we've not got that boxing community like Manchester and even Sheffield over the years. And in London, you've obviously got a few fighters that have filled stadiums, but London's the capital, so I don't really count. But Nottingham, I wouldn't say it's a boxing city. You've got Lee Wood since me. I've been retired a few years, but they'll get behind their man if they like him. And it took me to come back here and defend against Lucian Butte to fill the arena properly. I mean, I boxed John Pascal for my first world title fight in 2008, and it was quite busy, but it wasn't packed. I think it should have been, but it wasn't. But then when I've been on the road for a bit in the Super 6 World Boxing Classic, and then my last fight I lost to Ward, comeback fight against Butte, I was stood in this place actually. This is where the press conference was. The weigh-in was outside the arena on a sunny day. I was so confident. When you're in Nottingham and you walk to the ring, and the crowd's cheering, screaming, and you're at home, all your mates that you went to school with, all your family's there, you was in your own bed the night before, you just feel relaxed and confident and comfortable, and you feel like everything's in your favour. Hopefully Lee Wood will feel like I felt when I defended Nottingham, and if he does, you'll get the best performance out of him, and that's what he'll need to beat Conlan.
Carl, I just want to get your thoughts on a couple of other topics before I let you go. Last time we spoke, it was on the back of Carl Brook's stoppage victory against Amir Khan. I asked you on the night what would be your thoughts if Amir would make good of his rematch clause, and you kind of didn't want to answer because you thought it was some sort of a trick question. Yeah. Since then, it seems like he is going to invoke that rematch clause. Just your thoughts firstly on that.
Yeah, I think it's. I thought it was highly unlikely he'd want the rematch clause, the rematch sort of. But he's gone for it. I don't think he should fight. I stand by what I said. He couldn't take a jab. He got hit with a jab at the end of round 1, and his legs were gone. So he's got no punch resistance. So I don't believe him when he says he wants the rematch, unless there's something wrong with him. And I mean that in the sincerest way possible. I hope there isn't anything wrong with him, but he shouldn't step back in a professional boxing ring again after that performance. Let me just not give him stick. He showed a lot of bravery. He's had a quality career. He's fought the best of the best. His CV stacks up with the best of them. And he's given us some fantastic nights. He's a great, solid world champion, fast hands, good skills, decent Olympian, won a silver medal in the Olympics. So you've got to give him his due. But the wheels have fell off now. It's time to it's long time to hang the gloves up. It's finished. It's gone. He's got zero punch resistance. When you can't take a shot, it's dangerous. And what people should also know is, when you can't take a shot and your punch resistance goes, you know this in training. Because in sparring you get hit with shots. You take more shots in sparring than you do in a fight, because you've got bigger gloves and head guards. But you get hurt in sparring. So Amir Khan's either not sparring, which is no preparation to go and fight, or he's sparring and he knows he's shot to bits. Either way, he's got the answer that he shouldn't be stepping in the professional boxing ring again, ever. And if he listens to this, I hope he takes my advice. And I know his wife wasn't very happy about my comments, but I think the less said about that, the better. But he should take my advice and everybody else's advice that says he should hang the gloves up. He's had a fantastic career, and he served his time.
One thing with it all, we have seen suggestions that he'd be happy to step aside if he's paid a certain fee, whatever that would be, so then Cal can go on with his career, maybe face Conor Ben, which is a name which has been floating about, or Chris Eubank Jr. Again, from everything you've said, do you think it might just be a financial situation where he's thinking, if I do invoke it, I'll get a step aside fee, and then he has no intention of returning to the ring regardless?
Mate, I didn't realise that was even an option. So if he is trying to get step aside money, then that kind of sums him up for what he is, for what the situation is, should I say. He's got no intentions of fighting, but if he can nick a few quid by getting step aside, but I don't know how that would work, because I don't know how that rematch is going to go down with the public and the TV broadcasters based on his terrible performance against Brook. It's kind of not a fight you want to see again. I don't know if it's just me just saying that, but from my point of view, it was so one-sided, and it was such a poor performance from Khan. I can't see how a rematch is feasible. But if there's a financial incentive for Amir Khan to step aside and get someone in, fair play to him. Take the step aside money and sit at home on your sofa and watch Kell Brook fight someone else. If you can do that, then do it. But it's kind of conning the public.
Final one on it, Carl. You mentioned Amir's wife wasn't very happy with your comments. What did you make when you saw her reaction to what you had to say to Amir's defeat?
I didn't make anything of it at all. All I did was crack up laughing and then go about my day.
Moving on. Fury-Whyte, I'll just get your thoughts on that situation as well. What did you make of Tyson Fury, Dillian Whyte no-show at the press conference?
Yeah, I understand why he did it, but I don't agree with him doing it, because I just think he should get his face in there and be part of the whole build-up. It's all part of the show. It's a boxing, it's an entertainment business, and I know you're not obligated to do certain things if you're on the losing end of the purse bid and your promoter's not promoting the fight, but still, I don't know what advice he's taking, or whether he wants to do it because it's going to make him concentrate on his training. He feels better about not turning up to press conferences, but I think that's bad advice or bad attitude. Either way, I'd have rather seen him at the press conference doing the presser, because this is a great fight, and a fight that he can win, by the way. I've got Fury probably as a favourite because of his height and reach and his boxing ability, but don't write Dillian Whyte off. What a fantastic fighter. He can punch, he means business, he's waited his time long enough, so he should get involved and turn up to the presser and get involved in promoting it and give us more. He's given us a little bit the other day, and he's shouting line down the camera, and he looks like he means business. He looks fit and strong, and I like it. I like the attitude. I like the build-up and that. And it'd be a massive shame for the fans, and I think he'd look back in years to come if he carries on with his silent treatment on the build-up to this fight, because there'll be a few more pressers. There'll be another presser close to the fight before the weigh-in and that. And I think Dillian Whyte, get yourself to the presser, get involved, because we want to see you. We're all behind you as well. We're behind Fury and Whyte. I like Dillian Whyte. I've known him for a few years. He's close to my heart. I want him to do well, but I like Tyson Fury as well. I've known him. We turned pro pretty much together. His debut was on my first world title fight in Nottingham, and was both promoted by a certain promoter back in the day. And we both moved on from that. And we've got history. So on that one, may the best man win.
Carl, just the final one to get your thoughts on. Obviously, we've seen the devastating occurrences out in Ukraine with the Russian invasion. But on a boxing front, we'll wait and see whether the Alexander Usyk, Anthony Joshua 2 rematch will go ahead. In the meantime, AJ has mentioned some names of potential interim fights if Usyk is unable to fulfil it. What would be your thoughts? AJ Wilder, AJ Joyce, AJ Varlin are the names which were mentioned yesterday by Eddie Hearn.
Yeah,
AJ Ortiz.
Yeah, I like the Ortiz. I'm not so sure about the Varlin fight, but still, you know. But the Deontay Wilder fight, what a great fight! That's exciting. Wilder's a mad puncher, and I think that's a dangerous fight that maybe AJ shouldn't even be looking at. I'm not saying he can't win. How you doing?
Mate?
All right. Maybe I'm not saying it's a fight he can't win, but it's a big fight. I'd love to see. Bloody hell, AJ Deontay Wilder. Yes, please. We'll have some of that. Who else? Ortiz. A bit past his best, getting on a bit, but still provides a great fight for AJ. So I'd like to see that one. And what was the other name?
Varlin, Ortiz, Wilder.
There's one more, wasn't there?
There was, and now he's slipping my mind.
Don't worry about it.
Joe Joyce.
Joe Joyce, great fight. The juggernaut. And I read something that says he'll knock him out in a round. No, he won't. That's a great fight, and he won't be knocking him out in a round. Nobody can knock Joe Joyce out in a round. I don't think anyone can knock him out full stop, even if they've got a lump hammer in the glove. Joe Joyce is solid, mate. He's a tough fight for anyone, and that would be a fight I'd want to see. That's the fight we should be pushing for, actually.
Well, Carl, we'll leave that there now because I'm sure Q's going to form shortly and you're going to want to get ready for this weigh-in. So I appreciate your time as always. Thanks for speaking to me in Boxing Social.
Pleasure.